Welcome to Change the Narrative. This is Kim.
This is Lamb. Lamb, what up, world?
What up, Lamb?
Hey, man. It's live and ready to get it going.
That's right. Back from that vacation, right?
Yeah. Vegas, LA, man. Much love to all the fam that support came through. We had fun. Back to business, man.
That's right. Man, we got that COVID test too. Yo.
Oh, yeah. We got that COVID on that negative. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Took some time. You know what I mean? It took some time to get the results. But, hey, man, it's all negative. We all good. So, But I also want to shout out to a Belizean that's also doing the podcast, man, Mr. Brent Toombs, man. He got his own podcast called Brent's 2 Cents.
Yep.
He's on all the major platforms, iTunes, Spotify, Facebook. So I encourage all Belizeans to at least go and check him out, man. He got a lot to say, and I'm pretty sure what he got to say is very interesting for the world to hear as well. So go in and check him out, man.
Yep, support our local, man. It's good to see more people getting into the podcast.
Yeah, it's all love,
discussing
man.
issues, you know?
It's all love, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, so what are we going to talk about tonight?
Man, well, let's talk about the walking contradiction we are as human beings and the hypocritical nature of us in general.
Oh,
because,
wow. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, seriously, man. Ever since we got out of off the quarantine, it just seems like violent crime, not just in Belize but everywhere, is just off the chain.
Correct.
But because our show is catered towards Belizeans back at the crib,
we're going to focus.
It's just it's really sad and crazy what's going on back at the house, man. Where just unnecessary violence, shootings, stabbings, you name it, robbings.
Right.
It's just off the chain. Now, I do understand COVID-19 exacerbate a lot of issues we've been had, with a lot of structural issues.
Right.
Poverty, the family structure issues, you know what I mean?
Unemployment,
underemployment, you know what I mean? But the violence, you know what I mean? Where, the government and everybody went ahead, right? Shut down the country, shut down everything. People lost their livelihood, lost their means of making an income and taking care of their family under the guise of trying to preserve lives.
Correct.
All right. Now we have another debate where the airport is trying to open up on the 15th, and everyone seems to have a 2 cents in regards to whether or not that should even occur.
Correct.
But none of these folks, and no one I'm really talking to, are talking about the underlying issues that we've been had and the issues that's plaguing us right now in our society, and that's the gun violence and just violence in a whole.
So you're saying that we're hypocritical because we're doing all this for COVID, which we're not saying we're not supposed to do.
Right.
But what about the people losing their lives? What about the people starving right now because of the measures that we have taken because of COVID?
I mean, as it is, like I said, the problem has just accelerated. You know what I mean? I mean, look at what's going on now. You got the guys at the Port Yola, they're losing their jobs. You got the older folks are losing their NIH funding in regards to they're getting their medicine, their little pills, and so on and so forth. Teachers getting cut. A lot of businesses are going under, man. People, the electricity bill is sky high. You know what I mean? All these issues that are going on, right, because of COVID. But then when you add the violence on top of that and the killing and the, how do we, you know what I mean? I just think this conversation needs to be had nationally. It shouldn't just be a one-size-fits-all or a one-sided conversation where we're only focusing on COVID, but not actually talking about the effects and what COVID is actually doing to our people. You know what I'm saying?
So let's talk about the violence a little bit, and then we'll jump into some of the others, because one of the things that is happening with regards to the violence is it's like people are just completely overlooking that.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, they are. You know what I mean? And to be honest with you, like I said, I don't know if it's because these guys have built up frustration from being locked down that long. I don't know if these are old beasts. I know some of it has to do with people losing their jobs, have no means or income to support themselves because of COVID and so on and so forth. But the violence has to stop.
So a lot of people will sit back and say, well, that's a police issue. What do you say towards that?
Well, first of all, this is not a police issue, and I think we're putting too much on the police. You know what I mean? As it is right now, these cops have a lot on their plate. These cops got to be our psychologists, or got to be our counselor, got to be law enforcement, got to be all. I mean, that's just too much going on.
They're not even trained for all that.
They're not even trained or being paid to take care of all these issues. You know, I was watching on the news the other day where they were, the law enforcement were talking about, well, they feel like the issue stems from kids not getting whoopings as a youngin.
Oh.
I thought that was. I mean, I know. I don't listen, man. I don't know if they were trying to be funny or not, but I thought that was really funny.
So
like,
they're saying,
corporal punishment
there's
is
some type of argument to make that if a child is disciplined in the home,
man,
they
listen,
won't go
man.
out on the street and act.
That don't make no damn sense to me. I know a lot of dudes that got whoopings their whole lives, and they're the most, and they're doing the most right now. You know what I'm saying? So that worked. You know what I'm saying?
You don't think it works?
Hell no, that don't work. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. I mean, that's trying to find an easy fix to the situation.
I think a lot of that rolls right into the family dysfunction. It's the broken homes,
it's
not having
just
a father figure, not having nobody to.
Listen, man. It's the country's structural problem. You cannot put people in an environment like they do in Belize, bunched up like that. Bunch of unemployed people to start with. So you got us in section of Belize where we're tight knitted together. You know what I'm saying? A lot of us already don't have no money.
Right.
You know what I mean? A lot of us lack the proper education system to even get out of that situation. They're not paying us anything. True. So a lot of us are stuck in this situation, right?
Right.
Then you're gonna turn around and tell these same people to pull yourself up by your bootstrap and figure it out.
Yeah, some of us don't have boots.
No, that's what I'm saying. Some of us don't have shoes to wear.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So it's a structural problem, and again, instead of these, it's not just a politician problem, but the politician to me, has something to do with it as well, because they keep these people, they keep us in this role where we're too dependent on everything government, and not really giving us the means and ways to actually support ourselves.
Correct.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, it goes back to what we always talk about, the opportunities.
So that's what I'm saying. And because of that, now we are forced into poverty, and you already know the many effects that comes down to poverty. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Violence, uneducation, and blah, blah. You know the long lines of things.
Right.
So to me, it starts from there. So what most people focus on was within your household. Man, it's kind of hard to put that on a lot of these moms who are working 2-3 jobs to put bread on their table. You know what I mean? Or the dads who are working 2 jobs, to take care of their kids. These kids nowadays, man, based on the influence they got with social media and everything else, these kids don't want to listen, man.
Yeah.
They don't want to listen.
At some point, people have to take responsibility for their own actions.
Self.
Especially when we become adults, we make our decisions. Your mom could have done everything,
and you still do it
the way they believe is the right way to bring us up as respectable people.
Right.
But we will make those decisions.
So my question is, what are we going to do as a community to address this issue? Because it's ironic that COVID-19 is here, and we are going to all these extra measures to make sure we're preserving lives. So what are we doing on the grassroots level to preserve the lives of our fellow Belizeans who are being gunned down every single day because of this gun violence that's going on?
And therein lies a hypocrisy, because nobody cares. Where are the leaders?
That's my point.
Where are the role models?
That's my point. And that's my point I'm making, my cry to the public. It's like, this is going on for way too long.
Yeah.
And these kids' lives matter. You know what I mean? It can't be a situation because the man doesn't have anything means his judgment is dead. Or because he did something 5 years ago, his judgment should be, well, he did that 5 years ago, so if he dies now, no one cares.
Right.
Let's address some of these underlying issues. Why are we resorting to some of these issues?
Right.
And stop trying to find a one-size-fits-all solution, or trying to wish this problem away, because before COVID-19 hit, we would probably already kill ourselves out by that time.
Yeah, absolutely. And we have to realize, you talked about the one-size-fits-all thing. The police, for example, come with the violence to fight the violence.
Yeah.
And that's not working either. The stomping down doors.
Yeah.
We saw that recently in the news as well, where they're just busting into people's homes.
I don't understand that at all.
That's not the answer either.
That's really not the answer. I don't understand how you are coming into these communities saying that you are there to protect these people, but these people are terrified of the fact that the police are coming to see them.
Yeah.
And it goes back to the fact that there's no real plan, whether it's up top or even on the grassroots.
Right.
You know, I mean, we when I was younger, I don't know, they probably still got it. They would push all the gangbangers and so forth towards CYDP. I know they still got it, but CYDP is underfunded. Mm-hmm. You understand what I'm saying? They're underfunded,
and they can't be the only ones.
They cannot be the only institution that is addressing this nationwide issues. And the crazy part about it was, before it was only a Belize City issue.
Right.
Now I'm seeing these violence are countrywide.
Right.
North, south, east. It doesn't matter.
Well, again, it all is stemming from different underlying problems. Right now, there's a lot of hungry people out there. Hungry people are desperate people.
And to be honest with you,
it leads to a lot of crazy
and
stuff.
that's what I'm saying. Like, it's funny that, again, a lot of people have an opinion on whether or not we should open up the economy or not. Mm-hmm. A lot of people have an opinion whether or not tourists should even be there.
Right. You know what I heard recently?
How are we gonna find jobs for the people? How are we gonna address or find monies to fund some of these programs that can stem off some of these issues?
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Look what's going on right now with some of the students that are stuck.
Oh, in Cuba.
You know what I mean? That's another sad situation. These guys are there thinking they're in a scholarship, they're straight. You know what I'm saying? But their funding got cut.
Yeah. No, they can't.
They not only that they can't come home in case they cannot meet the requirements to come home financially. Right. But the government done cut their legs out by cutting the money that they was dependent on every month.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
So now they can't even feed themselves.
And who cares about that? Nobody. So it's like, we got to bring this thing back home. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Bring this thing back home and start to prioritize what's more important to us in our community. If the idea for us is to preserve lives and to look out for each other, well, let's do that in the right way.
Right.
We can't say we preserve this, certain life and forget about the rest. I think that's kind of
right, and that's what we're doing.
And that's what it seems like we're doing.
That is what we're doing. We are saying there's a lot of people right now that's saying, don't open the airport. We need to preserve lives from COVID.
Right.
They're completely ignoring everything else.
So
that's what they're doing.
People are sick, man. People are sick with
cancer. People, like we talked about, can't get out.
They can't get out. See doctors. They can't see doctors.
And we know our healthcare system is...
The violence is just off the hinges at this point. You understand what I'm saying? In addition to that, to make things worse, they're cutting people hours. People are losing their jobs. People are not paying their bills. All the utility bills and so forth is going up high. So, I mean, if we're going to have a conversation, let's have a real conversation rather than us going to each other's necks, because at the end of the day, these issues are not going anywhere no time soon. And it's about time we really start to get serious about it. I think if we're going to preserve lives, let's talk about preserve as much lives as we can.
Correct.
You know what I mean? Not a select few. If we're going to talk about we care about X, Y, and Z part of the segment of the population, scrap that. Let's care about everybody, because everybody got a stake in whether or not we as Belizeans rise or fall. And I think that should be our mentality. You know what I'm saying?
Right. So there is also another issue on the table, which is that of the kids going back to school. And a lot of people have just been looking at it from the perspective of, school is supposed to start back early August. They're opening up the airport early August. We don't want the kids going back to school because the foreigners, the tourists, the Belizean Americans trying to come home will bring COVID, and there's going to be an outbreak. Let's take it from a different perspective.
I think, again, that's they're missing the trees for the forest. You know
so I want to look at it from a different perspective right now.
And first of all, we have a bunch of border jumpers coming into our country back and forth. The people in the north who keeps going back and forth to Mexico, Guatemala, and so on and so forth. Mm-hmm. Those are the people who are bringing COVID in there. And guess what? It's hard for the Belizeans to actually track what's going on. That's one. Two, I'll go back to what I started the conversation with. A lot of these parents are losing their jobs, losing their means of income.
Right.
So explain to me, how will you expect these parents to pay for a school fee, school books, uniforms, registration? How do you expect these mom and dads to put food on the table with no job? How do you expect mom and dad to pay the bills, the rising electricity bill, Now again, they cut NIH and NHI. How do you expect them to pay the medical services that they once had, since their retirement? So, you know what I'm saying? It's like we always. It's like I don't know what it is that we're not really understanding what's going on a larger scale,
right?
Or we're just ignoring it, because you cannot tell my kids to go back to school, and we're not addressing these issues. So that's 2, 3. How do you expect these kids to stay focused?
No, that's the one that I want to talk about. That issue right
there. How do you expect these kids, right, on their right mind, to go back into a classroom, be focused, maintain good grades, all right, and still make it through this like nothing happened? When everybody else, their moms, everybody else is affected dramatically.
Correct.
You don't think it would have the same effect on these young kids?
Of course it does.
You know what I'm saying?
Honestly, I think we're being a little unfair to our kids.
We are being unfair. Not only that, we're being unfair to the teachers too, because at the end of the day, a lot of these teachers are up there in age, man. And we know that COVID doesn't affect younger kids that much. It do affect young kids now, but the percentage of how it affects younger kids is low.
Yeah, the older people are more at risk.
A lot of the older, younger kids are the ones who are asymptomatic, and those are the ones who are taking it back home to the older folks, and those are the ones that are giving it to the same teachers. So explain this to me. What's going to happen if 10 teachers get COVID at a school? 5. What's the protocol? What's the plan?
I don't know.
Do these teachers get compensated if they're not there on the job? What's going to happen if one of these teachers die?
I don't know.
Is it worth risking people's lives?
Correct.
When we can educate our kids from home? There are better options.
Yeah.
There are better options. You know what I'm saying? But that has a double-edged sword, because when you're telling people to study from home, a lot of these kids' moms and dads, they're out there trying to find a job.
Correct. The same situations you mentioned also affect them studying from home.
Exactly, because they don't have no parents at home to start with. And you can't, the days of you leaving the kids home and grandma, that's over.
Yeah.
That's over.
So, I mean, it's a very, I just really think people are just looking at one thing. They're just so, like, focused
tunnel vision on one thing,
Yeah, just tunnel vision. Like, let's really look at the overall situation. From a bigger perspective.
And I'm telling you, once a couple of these teachers start getting sick, I'm telling you, it's all going to crash. Okay, and let me ask you a question. Do you think we have the capability or the capacity to go back under another quarantine and come out of that better than we are today?
No.
As it is right now, a lot of the airlines are not. There's only 2 airlines going into Belize right now. I booked a flight with Delta. Delta just sent me back my money. Yeah. They're not flying to Belize.
Yeah, they couldn't come.
So a lot of businesses are already not, are not coming there.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So most of the people sit there and say, well, we don't want them here anyway, because, but what they don't understand is that without that income, the government cannot support everybody. There will be winners and losers. And I'm telling this to be honest. 70% of y'all will be losers.
The winners will be the same ones who are always the winners.
Exactly.
The same ones who doesn't want the airport open right now, because they're not starving.
And somebody got to tell them that. Somebody got to tell them.
Starving.
Because it's like they swear up and down like, with this COVID thing, or hospital system will be overwhelmed. But this is the reason why we completely, from the start, we said the issue with COVID and shutting down was for you to staff up and get your medical system
come up with a plan.
Have a plan. Have PPEs, have your ventilators, have everything going in all your hospitals, have makeshift hospitals ready for this time, for in case tourists start coming in cases start going up.
So it moved from
none of that happened.
No, it moved from that now to, let's just keep it shut.
Yeah.
Let's create a bubble. Belize is now a bubble. So, COVID will never get there. Okay, so I guess COVID is going to disappear next week or something.
And you know what Dr. Fauci said yesterday? Dr. Fauci said COVID-19 will be with us for a long time. Even with a vaccine.
See, so that's just all, like, whenever I have conversations with my people home, they're like, because you're in America, you want the airport open. And my question to them is always the same thing. All right, if not now, when? You understand? It's not going anywhere.
And that's what I'm
saying. So are you just going to create a bubble? And then, they always cite this, online, you see online, 88% of people don't want the country open. The 88% of people who are not for it, those aren't the ones that you should
struggling.
Right.
Struggling.
The ones who are struggling don't even have internet
to vote.
Said, they don't even have social media to cast a vote.
Exactly. Like I said, who feels it knows it. I want them to explain to me with all these. Right. Again, there's a lot of people right now losing their jobs. The people at port right now are losing their jobs. You know what I mean? A lot of these teachers are getting paid a fraction of what they used to get paid. A lot of businesses are cutting back. A lot of people are getting pretty much underpaid. Mm-hmm. So explain to me all this stuff since y'all have the answers. Who gonna make up the shortfall in people's everyday expenses?
They don't care.
And again, things are going up. It's not like, well, because of the situation, water bill are gonna slow down or electricity bill are gonna be lower.
They want their money. For those. There's no, you can pay that later.
Nah, they don't want to hear none of that. You see what I'm saying? They don't want to hear none of that. So who's gonna pay all that? In addition to that, who's going to address the underlying issues with gun violence? You're so concerned with what's going on with COVID, but there's no plan in regards to what's going on with the gun violence. And now you're telling these kids to go back and act like just be shut off to the world and act like the violence ain't happening, act like poverty ain't at home, or
act like they actually had a breakfast this morning when they probably didn't.
Exactly. Or that school fee ain't being paid so they could get kicked out of school anytime, or they're wearing the same uniform, one uniform for the whole week, and hopefully that lasts them the whole semester. Like, come on, let's talk about some real issues here, man.
Right. Don't have the books that they need because mommy couldn't afford to buy.
Oh, by the way, to add to that, remember the aunt and uncle that used to send you a little something every year from America? They don't have it no more.
They can't do it.
They don't have it. They're unemployed too.
Right.
They're unemployed.
Yep.
So who's going to fill that void?
I just really think, I don't want the people to feel like we're just here bashing Belizeans. I just don't think
we're
they're
not
looking
bashing.
at a big picture.
Think about it. It's not a bash. This is us having a conversation.
Right.
Let's put everything on the table because these are structural problems that we're talking about. And we cannot, not deal with our problems. We've been ignoring it for too long. We can't afford to have our kids killing themselves, man.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? We got to deal with our unemployment and underemployment issue.
Yeah.
We got to deal with our family structure.
Or poverty.
This is not no bashing of belief. This affects us all because we have family. My family are still there. Your family is still there. So this is not a situation where we are, we want this situation to be remedied, to be rectified as soon as possible. Right. But we cannot do it if we're not open to have a overall conversation and really debate it and see what's the proper way. Because, again, I might not have the proper right answer. You might not have the answers, but it's something that we can collectively come up with.
Right.
And that's what we, as Changing Narrative, are trying to push. We're trying to push the needle so we can at least come up with some type of consensus of what's the best way to move forward.
Right. At least talk about it.
And that's what I'm saying.
Not act like it's
that's
not happening.
That's what I'm saying, man. That's what I'm saying. You know what I mean? Because, you watch the news, man. You watch all this nonsense going on. But they always show you the issues. But there's never a solution to why this happened. Mm-hmm. So why are you showing me the same stuff over and over, and there's no underlying fix to this? Like,
right.
It's in a way, I feel like it's deliberate. You know what I'm saying? This can't be what life is about, and it shouldn't be what life is about. But at the end of the day, man, we gotta, as a country, we gotta come up with solutions to fix our problems. You know what I mean? And open up schools on the 15th without a plan is a joke. I watched that they gave these teachers $25,000. The teachers, got $25,000
for what?
To structure or to beef up their COVID-19 structure, putting up hand sanitizers and plexiglass. I don't know what they're doing.
Oh, yeah.
But $25,000 is a drop in the bucket. That's like a joke.
Yeah.
And that's supposed to last these teachers for a whole semester?
That's not going to work.
That needs to be $1 million, man. I'm serious.
Yeah.
That needs to be $1 million. But this is what I'm saying. We have all these issues and nobody's really dealing with it. And all you're going to hear is, well, the government is cash strapped. We got to do austerity measures. And that seems like the only solution. And deal with your own problems. And that's sad.
That's the way it is in Belize.
That's very sad. You know what I'm saying?
Yep. All right. Well, we will hope that we see some improvement in terms of everything,
and again,
especially just the dollar.
And again, it's just for us. Let's have a conversation. Let's open a debate, man. Let's see what can we come up with to deal with these underlying issues, because we cannot just put all our eggs in the basket in regards to COVID-19. COVID-19 is here to stay for us, so we got to learn how to live with this situation at this point. Stay masked up, stay washing your hands, stay, you know the routine. It actually works.
Safe ways to do it,
you know what I'm saying? But at the same time, let's deal with what we're talking about. Let's deal with the poverty. Let's deal with the violence. Let's deal with the people who are unemployed. Let's build up our economy. Let's be self-sufficient. You know what I mean? Let's deal with the things that we've been talking about on Change the Narrative that seems like it's going through one ear and coming through the next. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I want to focus on, straight up.
All right. Well, this is episode 30.
It's episode 30 in the books, man.
In the books. Be empowered. Change the narrative. Peace out.
Peace out. What you think?
I don't know. Yeah, see? Let's look at it.
I think it's dope.
I think you could get 2 good clips out of it for sure.
Yeah, I could post this right now.